why do poor white people vote against themselves time and time again? They vote for Trump and the other MAGA politicians only to have every promise broken, prices go up, social supports evaporate. Here's why. First, remember what I talked about recently, the psychological wage of whiteness. That term was coined by W.E. Du Bois to describe poor white folks being paid with social status rather than decent living conditions. They're convinced by the elites that they're better than black folks, better than immigrants, Latinos, LGBTQ folks. They're convinced that being white puts them in the same league as the elites. Of course, the elites know otherwise, but the poor whites buy it because they're grasping at straws. Second, they are convinced that the people they're supposedly better than are the big threat in their lives. Not the rich, not the corporations or the politicians, but immigrants, black folks, welfare queens, LGBTQ, criminals, the usual scapegoats. Third, the elites promise protection to poor white folks. A politician comes along and says, I'll keep those people in their place, or I'll kick them out, or I'll lock them up. Or, more politely, I'll defend your values. They don't say, I'll make your life better. Well, they say it, they just don't mean it. They'll say, I'll make sure they don't get ahead of you. Fourth, they vote for the punishment, not the policy. When a law gets passed that slashes public housing or school funding or food aid, they think, good, that'll stop those lazy freeloaders. And they do some mental gymnastics that make them believe it's worth losing those things for their own families in order to see those problematic black people and immigrants and so forth being punished. It gets to a point where just seeing those guys being punished is reward enough, which is pretty sick, but that's how behavior works. Their housing, schools, and groceries are on the chopping block too, but they blame that on Biden. Always a scapegoat. They get hit by the same policies they were told would punish the others, and they blame the wrong people. The system fails them, but they've been trained to blame the scapegoats, not the cause, which is the rich people, the people they voted for. So they think the problem is still those people, not the fact that they were personally manipulated by the people they voted for. They're basically saying, I'll take the hit as long as you don't help them, or worse, as long as you hurt them. That is the psychological wage Du Bois was talking about, the trade-off between material security for racial status. And that's a crying shame, folks. One share, like, save, and comment shows that you care about white people taking responsibility for racism in America.
Hello tribe, welcome back again to this channel. I go by Sherlock. That is if you're bumping across it accidentally, and hoping that you're doing great, you're holding tight wherever you're watching us from. Now in today's one, why do the poor white Americans keeping on voting against their own interest? It's about this one here. Why do they support leaders like now Trump or mega politicians who make promises, break them, then come back with even more broken dreams? I'm going to talk about this one here. It's a real talk. So see, this is a story that starts with the concept of W.E.B. Du Bois. He called it the psychological wage of whiteness, even as the prelude. We've just watched the particular clip. So what does that mean? Basically, instead of being paid with real wages, yes, real wages, money, healthcare, housing, poor white folks are paid with status. Now, let me break it down. They're told, at least, you are not black, at least you're not an immigrant, at least you're not them. Now, and the crazy part, that lie works, is that it gives people something to hold on to. Even when they have nothing, it makes them feel like they are part of the winning team. Now, even when they are stuck on the bench with no food, no jobs, and no power. So exactly, it's like handling someone's shiny badge that says elite adjacent while taking their roof, their job, and their dignity. And then every election season, someone like Trump shows up and tells them that who to hate, who to fear, and promises to protect their values, not to improve their lives, just to protect their place in the pecking order. Tribe, it's about this. So I don't want to dilute and treat that sample clips courtesy to the creators. And then we watch their thoughts, comments, and of course, as usually we do it here, I'll circle back at the end of this particular show with my own thoughts, comments over the same, but along the line, drop us your thoughts. Support this particular channel by giving it a like, dropping that particular comment I've already said that on, and sharing with the good friends. Let's meet at the end of it.
Hey MAGA voters, this message is for you. I know how excited you guys get every time one of these undocumented immigrants is stripped away, actually physically pulled away from their little children or their wives or their husbands and detained and put into a concentration camp surrounded by alligators and serpents. I know that gets you really excited, but I just thought I'd give you a quick lesson in macroeconomics, especially for those of you that have no money. You're about to go broke, and I'll tell you why. See, here's the thing about America. Undocumented immigrants are a fundamental piece of our economy. It will not work without them. See, many of these people, most of them, pay taxes. They get few benefits, but they do actually pay taxes. They grow the gross national product, and they hold the fabric of America together by doing jobs that spoiled Americans will not do. Okay? This also causes inflationary pressure, which means everything is going to get a lot more expensive. So every time you celebrate one of these poor people being detained and deported, just keep in mind, you're one person closer to going broke. You're going to lose everything you have. And remember who you voted for. You voted for someone who doesn't even know what macroeconomics means, doesn't know the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics, okay? You voted for a dunce, and he's going to be your undoing. But keep in mind that he's really rich, and all the people in the GOP that are sucking up to him, see, they're really rich too. So I hope you're really rich, because if you're not, you're going to go broke, and you're only going to have yourself to blame. Have a good day.
It's time to speak up. Well, it appears the joke's on me. It appears I have been the biggest fool alive. You see, before the last couple of days, I knew that there was a segment of MAGA who just hated, who just wanted to burn the world down, and they don't care who they hurt in the meantime. I knew there was that section, but I really, really thought that most of MAGA just didn't get it. I really thought they just didn't understand. They didn't understand economics because it's complicated. They hadn't studied Project 2025, so they didn't know what was coming. But I really thought when he got in there and started doing the things that hurt so many people, that they would realize, and that they would. But they don't care. Y'all have been telling me this for 2 months, and I kept saying, no, we just have to explain it to them. We just have. Now, I know there are a few, and I thank you guys. You make it worth sticking with this. But over the last couple of days, I have realized that the majority of Republicans do not care how many people are hurt. And they are exactly what Palpatine said. They're the ones he was talking about when he said he could unalive someone in public and they would still vote for him. I thought they just wanted lower egg prices. I thought they were struggling in the economy and it was hard, and they wanted their lives to be easier, and they listened to that. And that's why they voted for him. But they don't care. They literally don't care how many other people in this world are hurt. See, the difference is I'm willing to pay more for my eggs. If it means no one in my country goes hungry tonight, I am willing to pay more for my eggs. If it means everybody can have an egg. But They really don't care. And I am heartbroken that so many in my country don't care. That so many won't go love their neighbor. But I want to thank those of you who are. You're the ones keeping me going. Go love your neighbor.
Yeah, I want to jump on the bandwagon of saying that I regret my vote for Trump. My whole family does. My husband and I own a farm in Ohio that was funded through the Inflation Reduction Act, which Biden signed into law. And now the executive orders from Trump are rolling back all of that funding for us. So now we can no longer afford our farm. And when all that happened, it was like a lightning bolt hit my brain. And I realized that I shouldn't just be voting for myself, that Trump's policies and EOs are hurting millions of people. But it took it affecting me personally to understand what I had done was wrong. And I think it's really important for anyone to come out who voted for him and is now negatively impacted by the executive orders, or maybe you have friends or family, especially in minority communities, who are being very heavily impacted by what's going on right now. So yeah, I think it's time for us to stop being so selfish maybe, and to vote for what's best for the country instead of just in our tiny little bubble, because we're all in the same boat now and we're all equally screwed by our new president.
I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but a lot of people are saying they're leaving MAGA now and they're angry at Trump. And I'm like, why all of a sudden? They're talking about the Iran war and Trump getting involved. Some people are complaining that the groceries, inflation, gas prices, the economy pretty much has not improved. Like Trump promised day one, he was going to lower everything, make all your dreams come true, all the bullshit. So a lot of people are realizing that the economy is not improving. I mean, I don't know what you MAGAs do when you go to the grocery store. You look the other way, pretend that the prices aren't going up for the most things, the most items. A few items have gone down, but not significantly where you can say, wow, I can really feel in my wallet that things are improving. So I guess the last straw for MAGA was the war. That Trump might be getting into a war and MAGA can handle it, can stand it, because they don't want another war. And Trump promised no wars. But you MAGAs were okay when he said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Jimmy goes to school. 4 days later, he comes back with an operation and he's now Julie. All these lies, you guys are okay with it. So you're okay. I mean, you're leaving MAGA. You're abandoning Trump. You're mad at Trump. But you're still racist? You're still homophobic? Xenophobic? You're still enjoying seeing immigrants being deported, families separated, people crying on the streets because their family are being torn apart, and you guys are, that's what I voted for. So you're leaving MAGA with all that baggage, right? So you're not changing. You're the same. It's just because you're mad at Trump, right? You're not realizing, wow, I was in a cult. Wow, I can't believe that I had that perception against the LGBTQ. So you're not acting like that, right, MAGA? The thing was the war. Oh, and the grocery price is not going down, but the war did it, right? Everything else, you're going to take it with you. You're going to still be you. Yeah, no, that's not going to fly.
When they talk about welfare, they have you believe that black people is the face of welfare. Well, we have this YT welfare king receiving $2,800 a month. Now they're cutting it down to $300. Let's listen to what this MAGA welfare recipient had to say about this.
Trump has cut my food stamps from $2,800 down to $350. Now, what am I supposed to do? So I literally just got this piece of mail today saying that due to new policy changes from the Trump administration and all this shit, whatever, tell me I have to go work. Now I have to go do all this. Well, I literally got 5 kids. Okay. I'm trying to sit here and spend time with them. I'm not trying to go work 50, 60 hours a week so I can pay bills.
A lot of these cuts, they're exposing who really receive these benefits. They can't use black people as the narrative anymore, as the face of welfare, because you see a lot of white people on this app talking about Trump cut this, right? I see more white people than black people. Then on top of that, who told this guy to have 5 kids? Who told him to have kids that he can't take care of? Welfare is temporary assistance from the government. You can't spend your entire life dependent on this governmental system that's supposed to have only supported you temporarily. Out of that $2,800 monthly that he used to receive, plus other benefits, you could tell none of that money went towards a pair of work boots. Like, what happened to lacing up your work boots and being a hard worker? You're just out here having kids that you can't take care of. Like, that is crazy.
So I'm seeing a lot of people saying now is not the time to be talking about politics in regard to the flooding. Yes, the fuck it is. I know you're mad that I said if you voted for MAGA, you voted for this, but you did. Feel free to tag any MAGA voter you know in this video. Even the ones who were sitting on here crying about being misled. Because I've seen multiple videos now. I don't have sympathy for these Trump voters coming over. We were lied to. We were misled. Y'all called us sheep, stupid, brainwashed, liberal idiots. We tried to tell you. Kamala tried to tell y'all. Her economic plan was signed off by 23 Nobel Prize winning economists. I will never shut up about that, because if y'all weren't smart enough to read it yourself, because like that dude I stitched, she's like, we don't read the bills. Why would we read any of that? We trust what they tell us. We were telling y'all. He told you. Trump even said it. Y'all voted for this. He said he was going to do it. Kamala said, the only people who said he wasn't going to do Project 2025 and do all this other shit was the people who voted for him. Well, he said, but he didn't mean it like, you're taking everything personal. If you voted for MAGA, this is the exact time to talk about it. If you voted for MAGA, all of the unalivings that have occurred because of the National Weather Service being cut, the tornado in, I think it was Missouri, the flooding now in Texas, all of that, you voted for that. You voted for that. We told y'all what was going to happen. Kamala tried to tell y'all what was going to happen. Trump told y'all what he was going to do. Elon told y'all what he was making cuts to, and y'all went, yes, sir.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways, and I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day food.
It's time to speak up. Well, it appears the joke's on me. It appears I have been the biggest fool alive. You see, before the last couple of days, I knew that there was a segment of MAGA who just hated, who just wanted to burn the world down, and they don't care who they hurt. In the meantime, I knew there was that section, but I really, really thought that most of MAGA just didn't get it. I really thought they just didn't understand. They didn't understand economics because it's complicated. They hadn't studied Project 2025, so they didn't know what was coming. But I really thought when he got in there and started doing the things that hurt so many people, that they would realize, and that they would. But they don't care. Y'all have been telling me this for 2 months, and I kept saying, no, we just have to explain it to them. We just have. Now, I know there are a few, and I thank you guys. You make it worth sticking with this. But over the last couple of days, I have realized that the majority of Republicans do not care how many people are hurt. And they are exactly what Palpatine said. They're the ones he was talking about when he said he could unalive someone in public and they would still vote for him. I thought they just wanted lower egg prices. I thought they were struggling in the economy and it was hard and they wanted their lives to be easier, and they listened to that. And that's why they voted for him. But they don't care. They literally don't care how many other people in this world are hurt. See, the difference is I'm willing to pay more for my eggs if it means no one in my country goes hungry tonight. I am willing to pay more for my eggs if it means everybody can have an egg. But they really don't care. And I am heartbroken that so many in my country don't care. That so many won't go love their neighbor. But I want to thank those of you who are. You're the ones keeping me going. Go love your neighbor.
Tribe, welcome back again. I told you that I'll circle towards the end of this particular show, and here we go. So here's the bottom line. Poor white folks aren't stupid. They're waking up, and they are desperate for dignity, for belonging, a sense of belonging, for hope. And the system knows that, so it feeds them lies that whiteness alone gives them, worth. But that lie is costing them everything: their jobs, their healthcare, and their children's future. Until they stop seeing black people, immigrants, and the LGBTQ community as enemies and start seeing them as allies in the same struggle, they'll keep getting played. And the real enemy isn't the person next to you. No. It's not exactly the person next to you, and seeing them as allies in the same struggle, they'll keep getting played. So the real enemy, again, is not the person next to you at the bottom. It is the hand at the top that keeps you both down. So truth is, the moment, poor people across all races unite, the game changes. And the elite knows it. And that's why they work so hard to keep everybody else divided. So it's time to wake up, not just to vote, but to understand why we vote or why people vote. And who's really benefiting when we don't ask the right questions. When the right questions are not asked, who really benefits from that? I go by Sherlock. If it is your first time that you're bumping across this one, how about you subscribe? And my returning subscribers and viewers, kindly, you've been, a milestone, and I can tell you that we've reached this particular far because you have been there. And I know that the whole support that you've been giving me never goes unrewarded. So see you in the next one time.